Want a great activity to get your learners interested and engaged and practicing a really useful piece of language? Here's one for you. Low preparation, high output, and lots of authentic, personalised use of the language. Sounds good? Keep watching. I'm Jo Gakonga from elttraining.com, and if we're meeting for the first time, I'm a teacher educator, a CELTA trainer and assessor, and I make videos like this for trainees, novice teachers and people a bit further down the line at my website elttraining.com. Second conditionals are commonly taught from pre-intermediate upwards, and it's a really useful bit of language for describing impossible or unlikely situations. If I were you, I'd ask her, I'm not you. It's impossible that I could be you, but if I were, then I would ask her. Or, if I had time, I'd read it. I don't have time. It's not likely I'm going to read it, but if I did, I would. The form's relatively straightforward. The main difficulty is that you're using a past tense form, but the meaning is about now or the future. So make sure that they understand that. There's also that little thing about the do you use was or were. If I were, if I was. But how about a practice activity? I've got a really good one for you. So the tasks you often see for this are things like, if you won the lottery, what would you do? Or if you could be any animal, what would you be? Well, for the record, I'd be a cat. But I think you can make these kind of questions a bit more interesting, a bit more stimulating, a bit more thought-provoking. It obviously comes down to the kind of questions that you ask. This is such a rich seam of language for things which people are genuinely interested in talking about. So how about a question like this? Or this? Or this? If you like these, there's a link just below to a worksheet where you can download 20 of them completely for free. But I also want to give you 3 great ideas for how to arrange these in class. Number 1, give these questions out on cards, 1 question per card in small groups. The learners take it in turns to turn up a question, ask it to the group and get the answers from them. The person with the question, they could be the chairperson for that particular question. You can monitor, help with the language they need, listen for errors, for delayed correction. I think doing it like this means that each person has some kind of ownership of each question, and that helps a little bit. Number 2, another way to organise this is to give each person in the class a different question and get them to find out the answer from 3 different people. You could add a time limit. Maybe they have to talk about their questions for 5 minutes. They'll have 2 questions, obviously 1 each. And they have to also make notes on what their partner said, so that at the end of the activity, when they've talked to 3 different people, they can report back on what the people said. They could report back on that in pairs to extend the speaking and the practice of language. Number 3, give the learners the same 6 questions, the whole class, the same 6 questions, but ask them to choose one of those 6 that they find the most interesting and write their answer to that. Give them some time to do this, monitor, help with vocabulary. You could let them use online dictionaries perhaps. Tell them how many words to write. I'd suggest maybe 100, a shortish answer. You don't want this to take too long. Now, get them to work in pairs, and they have to read their answers to each other. In order to make sure that they listen carefully, their task afterwards is to write down what their partner said. not as a dictation, but as, write down the ideas, make sure they've got all the ideas. When they've both done their writing, they can check back with each other and see how their version corresponded to the original. See if they missed anything. I hope that these ideas are helpful and that you enjoy this activity. Why don't you try it out in your next class? If you're feeling a bit stuck with grammar and you're not sure about the knowledge of it or how to teach it, then I have great courses for both of those things on my site. Check them out. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I make a new video every week.